I think it's wonderful that we've all come together today to talk about an issue that's incredibly important, with potentially a merger that could take place that would change the world, literally, and in some ways not for the better. Again, thank you very much for inviting me here today. I just want to make a few comments about this potential Comcast-Time Warner merger. If it were approved, the Comcast-Time Warner Cable merger will drastically change the landscape for media and broadband internet service throughout the country. As we discuss the impact of this potential merger, we know that while the effects will be felt nationally, Los Angeles will be the hardest hit in the center of the entertainment industry. The pending merger between Comcast and Time Warner Cable will enable increased market dominance that will have a particularly negative impact on diversity of content and minority communities. Increased leverage created by the merged company's size and market presence would result in and even encourage anti-competitive practices. This merger is not in the best interest of the American consumers or the viewers. As a policymaker, I take my responsibility very seriously, and I've closely monitored the potential merger for many, many months now, for about a year. I've written letters, I've had meetings with executives from Comcast and representatives from Time Warner Cable. I've also spoken to stakeholders from across the country, both those in favor and those opposed to the merger. I have been open to hearing from both sides of this issue and have been assessing the impact on public interest and competition. As a result, today I announce my strong opposition to the Comcast-Time Warner Cable merger. I've asked the FCC and the Department of Justice and the California Public Utilities Commission to deny this merger because it's bad for consumers, it'll harm competition, it'll lead to less diverse content and more expensive cable internet access, and will eliminate good jobs in California. That letter to Comcast and Time Warner cable executives warned that should the merger go through, direct competitors like with Comcast content providers could face an uneven playing field when sitting at the bargaining table and negotiating for commercially reasonable terms. Today, we see that exact scenario playing out with the current contract dispute between Comcast and Telemundo competitor Estrella TV. It is not lost on me that Telemundo is a Comcast subsidiary and is directly competing with Estrella TV in the media markets that they are having a contract dispute over. Today, I sent a letter following up on this issue to Attorney General Holder and FCC Chairman Wheeler, asking them to review the impacts of such vertical integration on independent program providers. A merged Comcast will be the gatekeeper to the information provided to more than 90% of Hispanic paid TV subscribers and more than 30% of all paid TV households in America. And they will have the incentive to discriminate and drive down carriage fees for competitors, position them poorly on the dial, offer them in standard definition versus high definition, or place them on more expensive tiers. Of course, this isn't just about Spanish language or other minority interest stations. Popular mainstream networks like NESN, QVC, RFD, and the Home Shopping Network are all independent and could conceivably face the same types of contract disputes with a massive Comcast that only owns the set-top boxes they come through, but some of their competitors as well. The issue I have with Comcast-Time Warner merger does not end at their providing pay TV services to nearly a third of Americans. But perhaps even more troubling, under the FCC's new definition of broadband internet, a combined Comcast-Time Warner Cable can control more than 60% of the broadband market. This means likely price increases and service downgrades for the majority of America. Comcast has already stated that they envision moving to a usage-based billing model for all broadband customers within the next 5 years. Some Americans would be more heavily impacted than others. Nearly half of all low-income households lack high-speed internet access. Without this one crucial utility, they cannot reach employment opportunities, education, or manage their health care. Comcast Internet Essentials program was launched in 2010 to secure federal regulator approved for the Comcast-NBC Universal merger. It provides internet services for $9.95 per month to qualified households. Without programs like this, their ability to access true broadband internet is compromised. Comcast should expand its commitment to this program nationwide by including all low-income households, including seniors and veterans, not just families of students eligible for free and reduced lunches. They should also set performance goals to increase participation rates of eligible households. It's not just me saying this. Our State Public Utilities Commission has made this demand of Comcast in order to approve the merger. Comcast immediately fired back that it was too aggressive a plan. I also want to see the FCC require Comcast to provide financial backing to independent funds in major market states that would collaborate with broader efforts to close the digital divide and support community-based organizations that work to increase broadband adoption in communities. This public-private partnership should also include a national oversight committee to ensure transparency and accountability, and include stakeholders, state and federal regulators, and Comcast executives as well. Comcast is operating in a regulated industry, and with that comes a responsibility to conduct business in a way that promotes the public interest. And this has been a standard that applies to companies in this industry. These efforts would go a long way to showing Comcast's commitment to promoting public good and not just corporate gain. Finally, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention my concerns that the creative community in Los Angeles would suffer as a result of this merger. In filings to the FCC, Comcast has reported it expects to save $1.5 billion in the first 3 years after the merger and $1.5 billion each year thereafter. Much of these savings are attributable to programming costs that will directly impact the hub of content creators in Los Angeles. As the home of the entertainment industry, Los Angeles has 132,000 industry jobs, many of which could end up on the cutting room floor as Comcast looks to reduce costs and use its increased size to negotiate reduced programming rates and supplier costs. As a member of Congress, I believe it is in the best interest of the public and the consumers to promote competition on the airwaves and over the internet. The proposed Comcast-Time Warner cable merger is a tipping point in the American media and broadband industries and would encourage a market that is not free, but one that limits innovation, diversity of programming, and competition. Because of these detrimental impacts on consumers, programmers, and the Los Angeles entertainment industry, I once again state that I oppose the merger of Comcast and Time Warner Cable and ask the FCC and the DOJ to deny their application to merge. I'd like to thank all of you for inviting me here today, and I'd like to thank the panelists and everybody involved today for putting together this thoughtful opportunity for us to talk about this important matter that not only affects business, it doesn't just affect jobs, but it truly will affect both the makeup and the content and what Americans see and watch into the future. And this is a paradigm shift I think is not good for America, and this is a paradigm shift that definitely doesn't bode well for the future Americans who would only be subject to this massive, incredibly large, controlling interest that perhaps will prove that they do not have the best interests of the public at mind every time they make their decisions. Thank you very much.